choice questions, and you have peer review assignments. So no academics marking anything. And it's a completely different space because now with formal spaces you could assess any way you want actually, as long as it's moderated in some shape or form. Obviously online exams not suitable for all disciplines, so it will depend on the course material and discipline. So those are your learning designers. And then academics. So academics are concerned about various things. One, verification. How do we know it's a student taking the exam? So obviously, depending on how you're using your online exam, there are different ways. Like someone can be filming you, someone can be watching you through the screen. But I guess it's always like a little bit of a concern or risk that something, they might work the system somehow and it may not actually be them doing the exam. Academic integrity, how do we know they're not cheating or something? If they're doing it from their own space at home. Maybe they have stuff on their walls, I don't know. And how to design for online assessments. Obviously with online there's a lot more upfront work and there's also more possible risks than me just writing a paper exam in front of you. And in tech they need lots of technical support if students can't log into the online proctoring or just in general. And in marking, marking's always a big thing, whether it's online or face-to-face. Do they have time to mark different types of assessments? If we think about what does assessment mean and what is relevant and fit for purpose, then maybe traditional MCQ exams is not fit for purpose, but that means they have to mark. Then institutionally, we have an exams policy that says summative exams have to be invigilated. But what does invigilation mean? Does it mean a human? Does it mean software? And I think they leave that vague purposefully to allow for this to kind of change to happen, and also it drives our change. And then the last challenge is legislation. So if you think about if it's online, the student data is being recorded and it's sitting somewhere, and we don't necessarily have control over that. So we have to always think about what is the wider legislation we have to deal with, like POPI and GDPR. So all of these challenges play into the system of the assessment landscape, assessment system. And we need to think about what is the best way to design and implement and manage online assessments as all these different things around us happen, and maybe we're pressured to do online, we want to do online to cater to flexibility and those sorts of things. Yeah. Questions? Comments?
Sometimes I wonder if we are harnessing the wave of machine learning within the assessment world.
What do you mean by that?
So machine learning, kind of, I mean, it's a whole big, manages large amounts of data, so it is a possibility for us to move away from multiple choice online.
Oh yes, yeah.
So to what extent are we ready for doing that? Are we talking to the right people in this way? Maybe some of the computer scientists perhaps can help with some of these things. I think we mentioned before, perhaps, how do we get our students to help invent the systems of tomorrow? And it could be projects maybe that but then you might say, well, okay, they know the systems. Could be.
They can work with systems.
I also thought, in listening to you and the challenges that you raise, it would perhaps be interesting to narrow down the problem and talk about summative assessments, because I find a lot of the things that you did mention have actually no importance for formative assessments. And if you combine one of the same course, a specific number of formative and summative, then maybe the formative ones can move forward with whatever innovative approaches we might find, and it's just a summative where regulations and everything else comes in. And there's one additional component that I didn't hear you talk about, and that's collaborative assignments. Collaborative online learning, assessing that in a summative way throws up an additional set of challenges.
I also think another challenge which didn't clearly come out was disability students or disabled students. How will this online assessment system cater for students?
That's a good point, fair point, yeah. Only one point about,
And maybe also just to add in terms of formative assessment, the whole concept of assessment. I think we're moving away from summative because we're exam-driven. Curriculum based to more to formative assessment, active assessment. So it's just to add, maybe just to focus also in terms of to differentiate between the two types of assessment within online assessment.
Someone actually mentioned at the previous group, like when we're rethinking about assessment, should summative assessment even be a thing? You know, that's the way we decided that people should be tested to see whether they pass a course. But is that a good way to assess people? There just not be a whole lot of formative assessment things that makes up a big thing.
But what exactly are you assessing and why are you assessing?
But I think each type of assessment has its role. It depends context. But the emphasis is the question. What is the emphasis? More on summative or more?
Well, I think we need to look at both from the project point of view, so from the OATs, from the online assessment techniques and services, they were looking at the summative assessments, specifically at summative assessments, but our challenges were all at that.
Also, if you have an online review, even though maybe the report was specific around summative, you wouldn't just bring an online assessment in your summative section of the course. You would have to prepare people for the types of tools and exposure you're using throughout. You'd have to scaffold what you're doing. So it should channel through to any other assessments in the course. So I guess we're looking at this because exams is such a big thing and such a traditional way of doing things. And I guess this is probably our entry point into thinking about the bigger thing, which is general assessment. What does it mean? What does it mean to examine someone? How can it be fair? It's a complicated space, and also in university spaces we have large amount of students. Often I think the approach has been, well, how do you test lots of students at once? You know, the best ways of assessing probably isn't massified. It's probably like me giving you feedback, but is that feasible when the class is like 1,000 people? So there's constraints that exist in the university space which are not easily changeable unless the whole university system decides to change.
So constraints.
My question came.
Yeah.
What is the role of something, the bigger thing, the machine learning, which is there for big data? I don't have it as a solution, but it's like, it's meant to be able to deal with big data.
Yeah.
So large classes is big data.
Yeah.
And assessments give us lots of data or information, and how do we decide whether this is knowledge that they gained from this course or not? And those systems are supposed to, when they design, to learn as well as to what is that learning that you would like from it. So that's my challenge, is how can we utilize that technology as well? Is there a place for it, or are we saying that big data is a certain kind, but our big data, because as academics always say, the classes are too big. That's big data. It's big stuff, big things that we deal with.
Standard challenge.
And there are issues, so I mean, when you talk about big data and machine learning, there are algorithms that are built to deal with, where the students' writing is their own. And so there must be a way to figure out
I think one thing that comes to mind for me being a technical person is also the cost involved from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. And then you look at the maintenance of it, especially looking at things like legislation. When you look at proctoring, reviewing videos for 1,000 studios, for certain students, each video is 3 hours long. Storage alone is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And when you think of effects of going on cloud, there's Poppy, there's GDR, but it's easy, just let's go to Amazon. Let's have it. So there's different regulations regarding student data. Should it be on campus, on premise, should it be on cloud, etc. And those things are very expensive when you look at cloud storage, etc. When you look at the number of personnel required technically to manage proctoring alone, it's a huge process. It's very expensive.
And it's the security of those assessments, so that they're online. How secure is it?
And also from experience, since we've introduced that as well, there's elements of human rights. Do you have a right to be videoing me writing an exam? Are you invading my privacy? Because you're watching me for 2 hours, I don't know who's watching me for 2 hours. I don't feel comfortable. So I had some students say those things. All those are concerns.
It seems like, I mean, this is all very, very valuable, very good comments on this. To me, it really does come back down to so why do we assess? The whole purpose of assessment. And I would think that, you know, the formative part, yes, can be done in any which way. We don't need to worry about. We do need to think about how we are going to assess online. You know, what are we asking? You know, how do we want students to demonstrate that they know what they need to know, or they know how to do what they need to know how to do? And for the summative, to me, it's much more like a screening device. Yeah, I'm going to have to screen people out. If they don't know their basic math, I can't have them in calculus. Yeah, so I'm going to have to screen them out, and that's where machine learning can come in. Yeah, or like in first-year medical school in Switzerland, you're not allowed to do entrance exams. Well, what they do in first-year medical school, they just screen you out, and they only retain 20% of those who started.
Yeah.
Well, is that from a human rights point of view? Is that more? But so really making this distinction: what purpose does the assessment have? And if it's just testing as a prerequisite to reach higher levels, then I think a lot can be done in an automated way. And then I'm not even, very opposed to the more ugly forms of multiple choice, as long as they're not culturally disadvantaging certain people. But when it comes to demonstrating what you do, in applying your knowledge, then I think there's very little automation. You really need to be able to show, how you do and what you do. So maybe that helps.
Maybe we're assessing too much. We're assessing too much.
Yeah.
Some people argue that perhaps we shouldn't have an assessment after each year. You progress, you understand, and there's a big assessment at the end, a project somewhere where you're more engaged. Sorry.
I think for me the drive so far has not been really about the assessment aspect of it. I think the biggest drive has been this to integrity and dedication. How do we know the right student is the one behind the screen? And I think that's what all this has been trying to address so far. We still need to move on now into assessing what do we assess, how do we assess. But for now, I think we must take this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.